Back to the Gary Goff Show here on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3 and WTTF.com. We're brought to you tonight by CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, State Farm Insurance at Lapes Office, Dyer, Seeds, Ace Hospital, or Tiffin Ace Hardware, and Tiffin Animal Hospital, as well as CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office. Coach, you got one of your assistant coaches joining us here. Why don't you introduce this gentleman to your left?
We do. We got Scott Preston here. He's our offensive line coach, and he also runs our academic program here. And very excited to have him. He's a great person and a great football coach, and he's just added that one more element to the program as a high-character individual that helps lead our young men.
Scott, Coach Preston, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate the invitation.
So we were talking before the program. You have quite a storied coaching background, to say the least. Talking about some of you got to be the king of goofy nickname schools you coached at, or just program. Northern Lights, Wonder Boys, Racer. Everybody knows Racers from Murray State, but and Roosters. How's it feel to be a somewhat normal situation being a Dragon?
Yeah, I mean, we got to be one of the only Dragons in the country, too, I'm pretty sure.
There's probably not a lot. Yeah.
You coach in Arkansas, they got the Mule Riders and who else? The Boll Weevils, and they got a whole bunch of different nicknames down there, too. But I'm loyal to whatever color I'm wearing, and I just like being around the guys and being around the coaches and just trying to make stuff better.
We'll talk a little bit about your experience since you've been here at Tiffin University. When did you actually get to on the staff, and talk a little bit about that time till now?
Well, it's a great story. I was actually managing property. I'd finished up with the Northern Lights over in Oulu, Finland, which is the farthest north professional football team in the world. And I was managing property, and Coach Goff had, Coach Bryson leave, Coach Oliver leave pretty late actually in the process, and gave me a call. And I mean, first of all, to be asked to work for someone who you coached is a tremendous honor, because you just don't realize what kind of impact you have on kids. And he's not a kid anymore, he's a young man, but you see a guy that you met when he was 18 years old, and now he's running a program, and it's a great honor to work for him. He's organized, he's detail oriented, and he's doing everything the right way. And I'd never been to Tiffin. I was born in Dayton, Ohio. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about Tiffin, and when I got here, I was just really impressed with everything I saw. And just the way that Coach Goff, managed the program through a very difficult first year showed me a lot about his leadership, and that's something I wanted to be a part of.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your offensive line. The injury situation is no secret. I mean, Coach, we talked about that before. You may have what you're experiencing in the season, but you're experiencing it in one half. Talk a little bit about how your kids have responded to the adversity that they've been faced, and how you see them moving forward.
Well, I'm not sure that they even realize there's adversity at this point. We just shove them in there, and they've just had to go. I told Max Paulum, as he's turning guys loose against Michigan Tech, I go, you can't afford to get better game by game. I go, you got to get better play by play. And then I asked him how old he was, and he told me he was 18 years old. And I said, well, you're the starting right tackle on this football team now, and you got to get it done. And he's managed to improve every day, every practice, every play. And that's all we can expect from those kids is just getting them better one day, one game, one play at a time. Play the next play. That's our slogan, and that's what we're doing.
How do you build that depth in the offensive line that you really need at this level?
Years. I think it takes years, doesn't it?
Right now, it would be nice to get some guys back from injury, but we don't really have that luxury. We had a great signing class, so we've got some young talent. It scares me sometimes to look up there and see that there might be two freshmen playing right next to each other, but the way things are going right now, you don't always have that option. But, we just go to work every day, and we work hard, and we try and get better. Our guys are knowing where to go. We just got to get better on doing what we're doing, and right now it's coming down to technique and repetition, and just getting them better. And they've embraced the challenge. The guys that have been hurt have actually stepped up and are helping their guys, and that's been a huge plus. And then we got Coach Gilbert helping us out too. So right now we got about 4 line coaches. So we only got 5-6 guys left to coach. So we'll get it done, and it's. They're not big strides, but you can see them getting better every single day, and that's all we're going to do is we're just going to keep going to work, and we're going to put them out there, and we're going to get them better.
Yeah, Russ, we had Gage Gorman, our senior left tackle, that hurt his knee again. We go out there practice last Tuesday, and here's a big, strong guy that's just, emotionally he was drained and very upset because his season's done.
Absolutely.
And I walk out on the field Tuesday, and Gage is waiting for me kind of at the locker room. He goes, "Hey, Coach, I need my whistle and I need a hat." And I looked at him and smiled. He goes, "I'm going to be a coach now, right?" I said, "You betcha, Gage. Come on." And like Scott said, Gage really took his position and the young guys in that position now, and has been working with them, with Scott. And so it's been good to see that, some of those guys are still involved and they still care about the team.
Sure.
They're working hard and helping them get better.
Well, a young man could take that woe is me attitude.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, not only, okay, I may be done here now, but I'm still part of this football team.
Yeah.
And it's my duty to help these young kids grow up. And you're seeing that firsthand.
Well, he won't be around me for very long if he goes with, oh, woe is me, because I'm not that kind of person at all. And he's picked it up. Yeah, he was bummed out when he got his diagnosis, but he's our student left tackle coach right now, and we gave him a title. He's doing great, and I think the best thing about our group right now is that we're a group, and I don't know if that was the case in the past. I wasn't here. I don't know what happened before, but we've really come together as a unit, and everybody cares about each other, and everybody's helping each other. They do a great job of communicating. They do a great job of talking to each other, and they do a great job of helping each other.
Well, you said we're a group now. That's what it is. An offensive line needs to be a one, doesn't it? It's not 5 individuals. It needs to be one cohesive unit.
Absolutely. We tell them that they're the skill players because, the other guys, the offensive linemen have to learn their skill. Everybody else has God-given talent, and we got to go out there and learn what to do. And that's we're learning a skill. We're learning a trade. We're no different than blue-collar guys going to work every single day. I tell them that the offense is a car and we're the gas, and if the gas doesn't make the car go, we ain't going anywhere. And,
absolutely.
And they've done a fantastic job of embracing that philosophy, and I'm pleased with them. They're a great bunch of guys. Every team I've ever coached, the offensive line are always the best guys on the team, best guys to hang out with, and they've just really we have a great time doing it, and we work hard, and we're starting to see those results. It's it's one step forward, 2 steps back. When you got to throw a bunch of freshman guys in there,
Sure.
but Brandon Rinker and Max Palm have stepped up and done a really good job, and we're going to be okay. We're getting better every week.
An offensive lineman has to have the physical traits to be able to play the position. You got to be a pretty big guy to begin with. How important is it what they have upstairs to be able to play that position?
Oh, especially in our offense. I mean, you've got to see stuff as it's happening and adjust on the fly with stuff right in your face. Receivers have to see that same kind of stuff. Quarterbacks to see that, but they get a little time and distance to see that. Mm-hmm. We got to make it happen with them right up on us every single time.
Ugly trying to
exactly right. Well, you got to be a pretty good student to get into Tiffin University too. So we don't have a bunch of dumb guys out there. We got a bunch of good guys. We got some good sized guys, and we got some pretty good athletes. And you'll see that stuff manifest itself over the next couple of years too.
Speaking of the next couple of years, when you go out and recruit offensive linemen, what's the thing you're looking for more than anything? Besides, you're looking for a kid who's got the size. Is it footwork? Is it intelligence? What is it?
It's footwork. It's long arms. That always helps. I don't think that we're necessarily interested in finding, huge hulking guys, although we hit the jackpot with Big Macs, that's for sure. But, through our weight program, I mean, the strides that we've made that Coach Ison gets out of the weight room are unbelievable. And, a kid like Brandon Rinker, who's 6'4", 290 pounds, he'll put on 15, 20 pounds. So we're looking for a frame that we can add to, someone that's agile, someone's got long arms, somebody's got great feet. And a little bit of nasty doesn't hurt either.
And you keep referring to them as kids. And an offensive line, defensive line, I think are 2 of the positions where really a young man needs to grow up from a kid to become a young man more so than anything. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I shouldn't call them kids. It's just I'm getting so old that they're all kids to me now. So I'm older than most of the staff, and I call them some of them kids too. So,
well, we thought about this or talked about this Sunday. We had 2 linemen, freshman linemen play against number 3 team in the country this weekend. That just a year ago they were playing high school football.
Absolutely.
I can promise you, Grand Valley didn't have any offensive linemen that a year ago were playing high school football.
Exactly.
But they got depth and they built a program, and it just takes some time to develop them offensive linemen sometimes. I mean, Brandon Rinker's a great example. Good player, going to be a really good player, but he needs that weight room for a year or two, And same thing with Max. I mean, and you're talking about a guy who's 6'6", 350, but he needs the weight room.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to ask you, Coach, you were calling him a kid as well. Tell us a little bit about Coach Goff back at Valdosta State.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
I got to hear a little bit. I don't know him as coach here. I need to know a little bit
Coach
about
Goff is the only player I've ever seen that the defensive coordinator put a contract out on, because he would go over. I mean, he was totally an overachiever. He'll tell you that. But he came out. He went to work every day. He was very cerebral. He learned the game. He understood the game, and it's carried over to the kind of coach he is now. I mean, when you know someone since they're 18 years old, and now he's pushing 40. It's really cool for me to see how those kind of guys grow up, and he's the same as a coach as he was as a player. He went out every day, he worked, he knew what his limitations were, he knew what his strengths were, and he was smart enough to learn every position on the field, so he made himself indispensable, and was ended up team captain and national champion, and all that stuff that he had then as a kid, he now has as an adult and a coach, and I think he's doing a great job. I can't say enough about what he had to go through last year in order to make the team what he wants it to be this year. And to me, that was, like I said earlier, that's the number one thing. If a guy can do that and he can make those sacrifices for the betterment of everybody, that's a place I want to be, and that's what brought me here.
It's all growing up. I mean, this program's doing a lot of growing up, and Coach Goff, I'm right there with you. I think he's the guy to take this program to the next level, and he's bringing in some great assistant coaches like yourself. And you talk about how Coach Goff was on the field. When you see young men like that, sometimes you see that guy may have a future in coaching when it's all said and done. Just from the work ethic and knowing that they, know the game a little bit. Can you see that in the young men?
Absolutely, and a lot of times, they don't all get over the top like Coach Goff, and sometimes you're hoping, well, that's the only way that kid's going to stay in football is if he turns out to be a coach. And yeah, I mean, I know just through my years of coaching, I've had a lot of kids want to coach because of their interaction with me. And, they're not always the best athletes, but they want to embrace, and they're thirsty for knowledge, and they're just a sponge. They soak it all up, and once they understand it, it doesn't make any difference what we know as coaches. It's what we can get our kids to understand and know. And usually those kind of kids find a way to get the communication down, because that's what it takes. It takes, there's communication as two things, the communicator, but you got to find somebody that listens, and you got to be able to speak to them in a message that they can understand and relate to.
Well, Coach, we've said the same thing in the past. Part of being a great coach is being a great teacher, and then having those students that are willing to accept your information.
Exactly right. And you look at all the other sports. Michael Jordan, unbelievable athlete, probably not the best coach.
Yeah.
Larry Bird, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of athletes that are really, really special athletes. They don't understand how to coach to somebody who maybe is not as good as an athlete as him.
Yeah, I can understand that. Well, Coach, you brought his man in as Coach Preston in for a reason. Tell me, I asked him about his initial impressions of you when he first met you. Now let's turn the tables. Tell us a little bit about your first work with Coach Preston at Valdosta.
Well, I tell you, one of Scott's best traits is personality. I mean, he is never in the dumps. He is always happy and excited about life, and he makes the people around him feel that way. Hey, you're right. What a great day. Or you're right. Hey, that was a good play that guy made right there. I mean, so his positive reinforcement into these players, and especially the offensive line. I mean, those guys work really, really hard day in, day out. They get no attention in the media, to be honest with you. They're never the one catching the touchdown pass in the paper or get talked about. They went 77 snaps in a game and helped lead their running back to 300 yards rushing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think. The difference between this year and last year is, Scott has kind of taken that offensive line group and really, made him his own, and these guys look up to him now. He's got a lot of experience he's brought to the table, and they trust him. They want to be coached by him, but his personality just goes a long, long way, and he's always been like that. I remember even a player here, and back then he was a young coach. Okay, so he calls me a kid. Back then he was a kid too, But here's this guy running around, even then excited and happy all the time, and excited about working, and that's part of coaching too. You got to love your job and be excited about going to work every day, and you can't let the little things weigh you down because you're going to be in for a long season if so.